Good morning, family. My message for the day is all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. Now, that don't mean some things, it means all things. And human nature says that we want everything to be happy-go-lucky and nice and good and all of that kind of stuff, but it's not always that way. But even when it's bad or even when it's not going the way you want it to, God can still use it for good. He can use it to show you things. He can use it to help other people. He can use it as a testimony for people. Well, anyway, yesterday I got I checked my messages this morning. I got a message from my doctor's office and said that they need me to come into the office and talk to the doctor because I was quote unquote pre-diabetic. And I feel like here we go again. Why this shit keep popping up, this, that, and the other, whoop-de-whoop, whatever. But, like I said, my pastor been teaching on all things work together for the good of them who love the Lord. Now, with that teaching, I should have been prepared for that. But, of course, my human nature, I got upset, I got disgusted, I'm doing everything, I'm trying to do this, I done given up everything I really enjoy, all of this, food-wise. But I haven't. You know what I'm saying? Because diabetes don't just come from meat. Diabetes come from bread. I don't eat a whole lot of white bread, but I eat bread. I don't eat a lot of white rice, but I do eat rice. And different stuff like that. I eat potatoes, all of that. Fruit, I eat a lot of fruit. And diabetics can't really eat a whole lot of fruit because fruit are natural in sugar. They're natural sugar, But anyway, long story short, I thought to myself after that, have you ever thought that God was using that to get your attention? I say I want to be healthy and I want to lose weight and I want to live a long time, but not just live, but live healthy, where I can move around and take care of myself and do for myself and I'm not in a wheelchair and people taking care of me and all of that. Well, in order to do that, then I have to do my part. So maybe that's God's way of getting my attention and say, hey, you need to slow down on this, slow down on that. I know you've given up a lot of stuff that you're familiar with and that you enjoy. And I'm a emotional eater. That's why I have issues with the weight my whole life because, like I said, a lot of us are, and I'm going to be transparent and say that. I'm an emotional eater, So, saying all of that to say is that was the reason I went so hard the first time on the weight loss and the plant-based diet and all of that kind of stuff, and it worked real well for me. It got all of my numbers right as far as the doctor was concerned. My blood pressure was under control. My sugar levels were under control. All of those different things, and that was the one, the key moment or the pivotal moment that made all of that click, because they told me that, I think it was like 2.5 years ago, which is what started me on this journey to begin with, and I went super hard on it. I gave up everything. Not just meat, but I gave up juices. I gave up white rice. I actually gave up rice, bread. I gave up a whole lot of stuff that I can go on and on and on naming, but I'm not going to do that. But my point in saying that is to say that was a place that I didn't want to be, And it's not a knock on the people that has diabetes. It's not none of that. You know, I have family members that suffers with that. I've seen people that lost limbs, and I've heard about people with blindness and all of that, and that was something that I didn't want to experience. So I figured if I could do my part, which is what I did, and again, I went super hard. So maybe this time, that's what it's going to take for God to get my attention and say, hey, this is, here we are again. What you going to do about it? You're going to be pissed off and mad and pouting and bitching and crying, or you're going to get up and do what you did last time, or do better than what you did last time and get yourself together. And of course, my personality is that I'm going to get up and do something about it. But before I do, I got to bitch and cry and complain and moan about it. Just who I am. But saying all of that to say, don't get caught up in what's going on around you or what's going on with you. You know what I'm saying? If you believe in God, or if you believe in yourself, or if you believe in whatever you believe in, you know what I'm saying? You have to know that things are going to come. Life is not going to always be comfortable. Life is not going to always be perfect. Nothing in this world is going to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? So you have to take those things with a grain of salt and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? When things happen or come to you, you just slow down a little bit. And of course you're going to have that initial reaction. You're going to be mad, or you're going to be frustrated, or and I get upset. I get frustrated a lot, And so that's why I'm saying, but again, you just have to come up with a plan and know that life goes on. You know what I'm saying? No matter what, life is going to go on. If I did get diabetes, life still gonna go on. If I got diabetes and lost limbs or died from it, life still goes on. You know what I'm saying? And that's harsh, but that's the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? And even if that did happen, God can still get the glory in that, because my life, or what I've said or done to somebody or for somebody throughout, it could have been years ago. It could have been one or two things. It could have been one person that I touched or whatever, or God touched through me. But he still gets the glory out of that. And or some of the things I say can touch a person and say, you know what? That makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Or God can use me to give somebody else a word, or whatever the case may be. But the whole point is that just because all things work together for the good of them who love the Lord, that don't mean they're going to always be good. You know what I'm saying? Some things are going to be bad. Some people pass. Some people die, even praying for healing. And sometimes I believe the reason for that, sometimes that happens, and it'll bring whole families together. Families that don't deal with, I don't mess with him, I don't mess with her, I don't deal with this one, I don't deal with that one. And somebody, the rock or the glue that held that family together, die, and then everybody else get closer. They come together. You know what I'm saying? That's a harsh reality, but it's reality, and sometimes God will use that to do whatever he needs to be done, or to bring people together, or to teach people something, And I believe, because people always say, well, if there's a God, why he let kids die? You know what I'm saying? Why he let nice people die, or why the good ones die young and the bad ones live forever? Sometimes it might be meant for the bad ones to live forever so they can learn something in that time they're here, And sometimes the young one that die young is to show the next person that you ain't got forever to live, so you need to get yourself together now, because life is short. All of those things, you can look at it anyway. Like they always say, you can look at it as the glass is half empty or it's half full. Now the optimistic side of me will say the glass is half full. Pessimistic side would say that bitch half empty. But regardless to all of that, my point is, everything that happens to us is not going to always be good. But that don't always mean that it can't work for good, or it can't turn out good, or it can't bring something good from it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to keep going on and on and on about it, but again, all things work together for the good of them who love the Lord and who are called according to his purpose. And we're all called according to his purpose because we all have a purpose, you know. And so just take that and know that even when they tell you you're pre-diabetic, even when they tell you you got this or you got that, even when people tell you you can't or whatever, just keep it moving, man. Just keep it moving and just know that it's going to work out. It's going to work out because life is that way, you know. And you can think back to some of the worst moments you've had in your life. But the point in that is that you can think back on it. And they're not as bad now. And even some of the things that we thought we would never be able to make it through, we're here looking back on that. So, you know, just keep that in mind. Think about that. And have a good day. One love.